Hi there and welcome to the Trash Podcast. Today we're going to talk about Antonio Chedraui, a Mexican entrepreneur that created one of the most well-known supermarkets in Mexico and in the United States. We invited him to the studio today to ask him some questions about how he created his company.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Antonio Chedraui Beso was born in 1931 in Jalapa, Veracruz. He was a member of the Chedraui family, which is of Lebanese origin, and has a long history of entrepreneurship and business activity in Mexico.
So, how did the idea start?
The idea to found Chedraui Group was conceived by my brother Yamil Chedraui Obeso during the late 60s. At that moment, the two of us worked as textile merchants in Jalapa, Veracruz, and were looking for new business opportunities.
According to family legend, the idea of creating the Chedraui supermarket chain occurred to Antonio Chedraui while he was attending a wedding in Mexico City. At the wedding, he demonstrated that caterers were using a large amount of food and supplies and realized that there was a growing demand for supermarkets that offered a wide variety of products at affordable prices.
Is that true?
Yes, it's quite a strange story. My brother and I decided to invest in a small grocery store in Jalapa, which they named El Portón. The store was a success, and a second location soon opened in Veracruz, and eventually it was incorporated to Grupo Chedraui in 1970.
Since it became a big company, it might be impossible that there were some scandals or legal problems. Can you tell us some of the most impactful problems that you and your brother had to face during the creation of Chedraui Group?
Sure, in the 1970s, when our expansion, the supermarket in Mexico was already quite saturated. Competition was intense, and there were several well-established companies making it difficult for new competitors to enter. Another big problem we had to face was that a growing company, Chedraui, needed financing to expand and compete with other companies in the sector. However, at that time, it was challenging to obtain financing due to the lack of credit culture in Mexico.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but didn't Chedraui have to face difficulties in finding suitable places to build its stores? As in many places in the country, there was no infrastructure available to support a modern supermarket, and I think the government regulations were also a problem.
Yeah, we had some problems with that, but also with consumer culture because in the 1970s, most Mexicans bought in traditional markets and they were not used to buying in large supermarkets. Chedraui had to work on educating consumers and changing their mindset to consider buying in a supermarket as an attractive option.
It's awesome that despite the difficulties, the business managed to grow that much. And like other companies, we dare to assume that you had some financial problems.
We heard that Chedraui almost went bankrupt. Tell us, how did you avoid bankruptcy in the 1980s?
In the 1980s, Chedraui was heavily in debt and on the brink of bankruptcy. To avoid this, the company underwent a major reconstructing process, which included selling off some of its assets and cutting costs. This helped the company to overcome its financial difficulties and regain profitability. That's only one example of the financial problems we've had to face.
In recent years, Chedraui has continued to face financial challenges, primarily due to the economic downturn in Mexico and the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2020, the company reported a net loss of 1.5 billion pesos, which was attributed to the lower sales and increased expenses related to the pandemic.
Despite these challenges, Chedraui has remained a leading retail company in Mexico. With over 300 stores across the country, the company has continued to invest in its operations, including expanding its e-commerce capabilities and improving its supply chain.
Now, I'm curious, who were the genius people or companies that decided to invest in this project that turned out to be a big success?
The investment in Group Chedraui has been carried out in different ways over the years and has involved both national and international investors. In the early years of the company, the investment came mainly from my family and close friends. As the company grew, investment opportunities opened up to general public. And in 2005, Grupo Chedraui became a public company and began trading on the Mexican Stock Exchange.
I don't remember where I heard it, but Banorte had a big inversion percentage in your company. Is that true?
Well, yes, but no. I wouldn't consider it that big. It's just 11%.
A After a message of our sponsors, we are going to start our listeners' favorite part, company scandals.
Si quieres ahorros chonchos, ven a Chedraui, ¿verdad, chonchito? Ven hoy mismo a Chedraui y comprueba que cada vez que compras, ahorras, ahorras y ahorras. Y recuerda que en Chedraui ahorras más porque cuesta menos.
And we're back to the Trash Podcast. We were talking about Antonio Chedraui, a great Mexican entrepreneur. Now he's gonna tell us about some scandals that the company has had.
So, Mr. Antonio, tell us about that investor, David McGrath.
Oh, we're starting with that. Well, David McGrath was an investor part of Sherman Financial Group who was found donating money to the candidate Donald Trump to create his political campaign. I'd like to say that this doesn't have a relation with our company vision. We could control this situation if we would have avoided it.
And what about in 2015? Chedraui was accused of 750 health code violations for selling expired food products and the lack of hygiene where products are usually handled. These cases happen in Mexico and in the US.
Well,
We have Obama on the phone to confirm this.
What's up, dudes? Obama here. I confirm it.
Since its creation, Chedraui has been part of minor scandals such as the leak of goods and offers on the quality of products and imports, prices, etc. However, the biggest scandal has been the political scandal with bread, in which President of Chedraui ran out of bread supporters.
about that,
Well, look at the time. It's time to say goodbye. See you on our next podcast where we will talk about Will Smith.
Don't forget to follow us on YouTube and Instagram. You can find us at Trash Podcast 123.
wait!
Hello, we're a team composed of fourth semester high school students. We are Victoria Martinez, Ángel Emanuel, and Jaime Silacatsin.
We decided to make our podcast about Chedraui because he's a great entrepreneur, and we can see that no all entrepreneurs are like all good. They have bad things and they done some things that shouldn't be done.
Conclusion, you don't need an inherited company to become an entrepreneur. You only need a brilliant idea and some help from your family, friends, and future investors.
Nada como preparar unos deliciosos taquitos de bistec con limoncito, o de chuleta con queso, de chicharrón, o al pastor con su salsita bien picosita, acompañados de un refrescante Boing. Pero antes de destaparlo, agítalo como quieras. Boing, el auténtico sabor mexicano, brutalmente delicioso. Boing, tome bien.